Anya had always been a dreamer. Since childhood, she would sit by the dusty window of her small mud brick house, a battered notebook on her lap, scribbling down words that no one else cared to read. While her village spoke of harvests, debts, and rains, she dreamed of books, libraries, and stories that reached beyond the cracked mud walls of her home. Her parents worked hard. Her father bent over the fields from dawn till dusk, her mother stitching clothes late into the night. Yet, in the corners of her simple life, Anya found space for imagination. She believed that words could be her escape, that one day she would study in a grand university, write books, and tell stories that touched lives. But responsibility weighed on her. She was the eldest, and her younger brother, Raghav, was fragile. His thin body was often racked with coughs. His legs trembled when he ran, yet his laughter could brighten even the darkest days. Anya adored him. On nights when fever consumed him, she would sit by his side, fanning him gently and whispering little tales until he drifted into sleep. "Didi," he would murmur, "when you become a great writer, you'll write about me too, won't you?" She would smile, ruffle his hair, and promise. Always. Life in their home was simple but harsh. Every coin mattered, every grain of rice was counted. Dreams in such places were seen as luxuries. Her parents often worried when they saw her scribbling in her notebook. "Dreams don't fill empty stomachs, Anya," her father would say. But her spirit refused to be crushed. When she turned 17, her life seemed to open. A letter arrived. She had been accepted into one of the most prestigious universities in the city. Not only accepted but also offered a partial scholarship. It wasn't enough to cover everything, but it was enough to spark hope. That night, Anya clutched the letter to her chest, tears streaming down her face. At last, the world she had longed for was within reach. But fate is rarely kind. Just days after her acceptance, Raghav's health collapsed. His cough deepened, his body grew weaker. The village doctor shook his head gravely. The boy needed urgent treatment in the city, treatment far beyond the family's means. Her father sat in silence, his calloused hands trembling. Her mother cried quietly over her sewing machine. And Anya sat at Raghav's side, torn between the letter in her hand and the frail fingers she held in the other. Two worlds, two futures weighed on her heart. By dawn she had made her choice. She walked to her father, placed the admission letter in his hand and whispered, "Forget about me. Use the money for Raghav. He needs it more than I need my dreams." Her voice cracked, but her resolve did not. Her parents wept, but Anya turned away before her own tears betrayed her. The days that followed were filled with sacrifice. She sold her precious books, gave up her notebooks, and worked wherever she could. She taught village children, stitched clothes beside her mother, carried loads in the fields with her father. The university letter lay hidden in a drawer, fading with dust. At night, she would sometimes glance at it, her heart aching, but she never let anyone see her sorrow. Slowly, with care and medicine, Raghav began to recover. His laughter returned, his legs grew stronger, and life seeped back into the house. For her parents, this was enough reason to rejoice. For Anya, though, every laugh came with a shadow of loss. She smiled with them, but at night, she lit a candle and wrote on scraps of paper. Stories, poems, fragments of dreams. She folded them and hid them in a small wooden box beneath her bed. It was her secret rebellion, the part of her she refused to let die. Years passed. Anya grew older, her hands roughened from endless work. She no longer spoke of writing, but the fire in her heart never fully went out. Meanwhile, Raghav blossomed. With her sacrifice and their parents' support, he excelled in school. Sometimes he would ask, "Didi, why didn't you ever go to the city? Why did you let go of your chance?" She would smile softly and say, "Not every dream is meant to be lived. Some are meant to be given away." He never pressed further, though unease lingered in his heart. Time moved swiftly. Years later, Raghav earned a scholarship to the very same university that had once called Anya. Their small home erupted in joy. Their father laughed, their mother cried with pride, and Anya clapped the loudest, her face glowing. But that night, as fireworks lit the sky, she stood quietly by the window, hiding the tears that burned behind her smile. As Raghav packed for the city, he stumbled upon the old drawer in her room. Inside, he found the faded university letter and, beneath it, a wooden box. Curious, he opened it, and his breath caught. Dozens of folded papers spilled out, each filled with her handwriting. Stories, poems, fragments of dreams. Words more beautiful than anything he had ever read. His hands shook as realization dawned. She had given up everything, her future, her dreams, so that he could live. Tears blurred his vision as he clutched the pages. He ran to her, crying, "Why didn't you tell me, Didi? You could have had the life you wanted. Why did you give it all up for me?" Anya looked at him with gentle eyes, her voice soft but steady. "Because you were my dream, Raghav. What good are stories if the person I love most is not here to read them?" He wept in her arms, guilt and love tearing through him. That night, he swore he would carry her dream within him, that her sacrifice would never fade. In the city, Raghav worked harder than ever. Every book he read, every word he wrote, carried her spirit. Years later, he became a celebrated author. On the dedication page of his very first book, he wrote, "For my sister Anya, the girl who gave away her dreams so that I could live mine. Every word I write belongs to her." When he placed the book in her hands, her fingers trembled. Her eyes filled with pride. She read her name on the page and realized her dream had not died. It had been reborn through him. Her words, hidden for years, had finally found their way into the world. Anya never became the famous writer she once dreamed of being. But in every story her brother wrote, she lived. In every page that touched a reader's heart, her spirit traveled beyond her village, across lands and oceans. The world might never know her name, but she had become immortal in his books. And on quiet nights, when the stars shone over their little village, Raghav would sit beside her and read from his newest work. His voice carried across the room, and she would close her eyes, smiling softly, knowing her sacrifice had not been in vain. Some dreams, she understood, are not meant to be lived alone. They are meant to be given away, so that love can write a greater story.